So I just had a interesting meeting and I want to just share some of my thoughts. A gentleman booked a slot on my calendar for a discovery call, and apparently he's been looking for a fractional integrator for some time. A lot of my work is not really in that space, like the traditional way that a fractional integrator works. I'm in the process of aggressively productizing a methodology that I built over the last 5 years, delivering that value in the framework methodology to more businesses is the big idea. After some Q&A back and forth, it's like, it's a discovery call, right? So I'm going to stop the NEPQ questioning process. Hey, just want to let you know I'm open for questions. What questions do you have for me? It's how much do you cost and how many hours a week? Well, this is how I work. We basically take a crawl, walk, run approach. So there's a measured step forward that's structured and brings a lot of clarity and builds momentum. That's the first thing to keep in mind. That's how I approach it. What does that look like? Assuming we leave this call feeling like there's some reciprocity, there's some potential good fit, like alignment between the requirements you have and the capabilities that I have. If we feel like there may be a dovetail there, then we'll probably move into a deep dive conversation. And that will allow us to dig deeper into whether there's values alignment from a cultural standpoint. There's a technical proficiency in terms of the relevant tools being used. There's a personality fit, which is really important, especially for a visionary integrator dynamic. We have a mutual respect, and we're building a shared understanding on where the company is, where it's trying to go, that type of thing, right? We start putting those blocks down. If those elements of base compatibility are present, then we start to build some trust, saying, wow, we might be able to really do some work together. We might be able to do some good work here and determine if we want to move forward. We verify that trust with a measured step forward. I use the military analogy of the principle of the limit of advance. Before we conduct a village assault, we always put a limit of advance, the assault. We say we're going to assault up to and through the village, but if we reach the canal on the far side of the village, then we're going to stop and reassess. We're going to consolidate. Even if we're aggressive and have a lot of momentum, we're still going to stop and consolidate, even if it's for a minute. And that's really important, as otherwise time has shown it's easy to get overextended during moments where the operational tempo is really high, the velocity is high, the momentum is high. And if you don't have a discipline to stop and consolidate for a moment, and this isn't just a military concept, this is a principle that underpins human endeavor. Within a business context, we take a measured step forward with a predetermined endpoint that says, hey, look, we're going to have the touch point. We're going to connect, come together, and understand each other's view on whether or not this is the right way forward still, and lessons learned from what we have done to continue improving, assuming that mutually we both want to proceed. That's the principles first approach to structuring an engagement that works long-term and that spans the distance, that covers the distance and spans larger expanse of time. So that first step forward is really really easy, really clean and crisp. It's a $99 month engagement where we come together twice. On the one hand, we'll do an intake. On the second hand, we'll do a delivery. And I'll flush out your growth plan. The growth plan is your 3-year, 1-year, and 90-day planning horizon. And the closer we get to current state, the more detailed it becomes. When we have your quarterly rocks or objectives, we make those SMART using that acronym: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. Once we look at those SMART 90-day rocks, we say, okay, great. Now we got to operationalize these. We got to take it off the whiteboard and actually do it. How do we do that? Operations plans. And we'll build operations plans and briefing videos and actually look at those and identify the areas that need revised. And then we talk about what to do next. And the path is splits. Now you can stay in that Venture Map Elite community, that $100 a month membership, where there's access to 2 live group calls a week, in addition to the 2 free implementation sessions. You get free Go High Level access, free templates and trainings, and a number of other things. Not to mention, we've got some incredible, legendary founders in the community that are just privileged to be around. I'm very biased, of course, but it's objectively true. That's the self-implementation route. Then it splits from there and it goes into implementation support. And that's where our asynchronous implementation or task execution support comes in. The last thing any CEO wants, especially in a small business that needs more operations efficiency, the last thing that we need ever at that level is a contemplative, is a theorist, is a big idea guy. There's already a big idea guy, the founder. So if we're working to bring in someone else, a second in command type, who can support with facilitation, alignment, enhancing velocity, and increasing strategy execution, these things, contribution to the strategy formulation process, contribution to the vision crafting process and clarification process and team alignment, all of that stuff, contributions to that. Of course, it's relevant. The operations advisory piece, the technology training piece, the upskilling and performance management piece, all of those are really valid. But ultimately, you're not bringing in somebody to tell you what your vision is. You're bringing in somebody to help you execute on your vision. So I'm very realistic with that. Therefore, it's not first a operations advisory thing where we just connect for a couple hours a month and do strategic thought sparring, although that's incredibly valuable. I bias towards action. That's why we have a task execution subscription that's primarily asynchronous. I include 4 additional one-on-one implementation sessions, live workshops. We can either choose to do bi-weekly, weekly for 90 minutes, and set that tempo out of the gate. The way that the task execution works is we're basically knocking out tasks on a 2-day, on average, Monday through Friday tempo. The beauty of that is tasks are defined at a level that takes us about that much time. So for example, if it is, hey, we need to build a whole new website. It's like, cool, that's a project. Let's develop the project plan. Ideally, that would have been done at the crawl stage when we engaged at a Venture Map Elite community. We would have mapped out your operations plans. That includes a work breakdown structure of all of your deliverables and a timeline. So we already know the area that is the number one priority. We know the capability set that can support that. We want to build a website. The first thing to do is to develop the requirements for the site, develop the concept for the site, to wireframe it, to do the layout design, to do the initial branding, if that's present, and then to move it forward into design phase. That's where we bring in a Jedi, a level 10 guy on a Fiverr who's going to mock it up in Figma. Then we bring in a developer who's Nigeria or Pakistan or whatever, who's going to develop the page in Webflow or Go High Level or your platform of choice. So there's areas where we'll execute directly, and there's areas where we're going to farm out the task to a narrow field specialist to move things forward in a capital efficient and high velocity way. That's how that goes. On average, we're going to execute a task cross-functionally across the range of functional areas in your business. And that helps you as a business owner start having predictability on task execution for working on the business. And getting support an operations leader, a fractional integrator, can be not just an idea guy, not just a mirror to reflect back what you're saying, but someone who can actually pull tasks off the page, drill down on those tasks in real life, and deliver results. So that's kind of the big idea. After we run through our initial 4 free implementation sessions on the asynchronous task execution work, then it's like, okay, cool. We can roll this async. There's a 24-hour on average response time Monday through Friday asynchronously. So be it Telegram, Trello, Miro, Loom, we're able to stay in high resolution contact on critical areas. And that does a really good job for most cases. And we can sort of default to that. You also have the ability to come on 2 times per week in your Venture Map Elite membership. So you're paying $100 a month for a number of things. One of them being access to me. That's worth thousands of dollars if you were to pay for it out of pocket directly. You want more of a bespoke touch, a more high touch one-on-one over the course of a month, be it bi-weekly or on a weekly basis, then it's stacking our live sessions on top of the asynchronous task execution. So task execution, asynchronous, that's $1,000 a month. We're basically looking at $100 a month is crawl, $1,000 a month is walk. And then from there, we can scale off from at a bi-weekly level, that's $1,000. At a weekly level, that's $2,000. And we can look at doing that on a quarterly basis with a subtle bonus and knock off 20% on the top of the weekly engagement just to incentivize longer term commitment. So that's the play. That's the whole idea for this aggressive productization effort to deliver the AI COO, the thing that everyone wants, the thing that everyone needs, and the thing that unfortunately doesn't exist yet. We are building that every single day. The reason that the offers and this value ladder is structured the way that it is to incentivize people with the right view and perspective, the right mindset, and the business opportunity to engage. $100 with a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee it's nothing. It's a joke. Well, it's only a joke until you have to spend the money. So many people weren't, that's my way of separating leads from buyers. If you put a Benjamin down on the table and you're committing to showing up for 2 90-minute sessions, that's my way of preliminarily determining your seriousness. And it's also a way to determine your character. It's also a way for me to start getting insight into the realities of the culture of your business, for me to start getting a sense for the person, and for you to do the same, for you to get a sense for my personality, my character, my capabilities, my technical proficiency, my experience. We start to see those things. And then we say, wow, we got these awesome plans. Now what? Well, self-implement, bro. You can self-implement, and I'm here to guide you. We can talk about it 2 times a week. Or I can support you with the task execution. That'd be sick. Let's go. We'll meet once a week for the next month to just brute force this thing. Let's do it. We get through the end of that. We don't really want to go back to the group calls only, but we also don't want to just be async. So let's keep this week-to-week thing going. Leveraging asynchronous visual collaboration tools, leveraging AI tools, leveraging my unique perspective with military precision and principles first leadership and a number of other carefully constructed systems. The back allows us to punch very far above our weight class. So for what ends up becoming a couple $1,000 a month, you're able to outperform rivals who are spending a lot more and getting a lot less. Where there's a real serious intent and a solid level of compatibility, engagement, reciprocity, mutual respect, shared understanding, and values alignment, where all of those things are very clearly present and our past performance is strong. We've got a track record of success, and it's an energizing engagement. There's momentum, velocity being built. It's a natural next step to have an organic conversation about, hey, how do we move forward here? How do we get even more aggressive at doing this? But that's a serious thing. We're talking multiple 5 figures on a monthly basis. And there's some additional elements to that. Naturally, we don't start there. And I've had the pleasure of working with the majority of my clients for years. I take a long view as a COO, as an integrator, and founder. I see the business world on a rolling 90-day and rolling annual basis. How we're executing on a daily basis impacts our weekly and monthly and 90-day basis. So having that longer planning horizon reminds me that being known for sound judgment, being known for good character and decision-making ability, these things are invaluable to me. So That's why I put 30-day, 100% guarantees on the refund, because it's not worth it to lose a reputation that I formed for over a decade to establish, one of integrity and of being a force multiplier, a value add asset. So those are some remarks. The conversation I had was really interesting. I went on for quite some time on the training side, covering the high level principles: crawl, walk, run, trust and verify, determining requirements and capabilities, establishing a base level of compatibility. Immediately after that, I was like, okay, well, thanks, goodbye. Boop. Thank God for this process. Yeah, it's always interesting. Thank you for watching. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Principles are an interesting thing because they're proven to be true over large expanses of time and an array of circumstances. You can apply principles to patterns you observe in the environment, to circumstances you find yourself in. And although principles are not without their dichotomies or without their exceptions and outliers, principles are reliable because oftentimes they're grounded in the absolute. They're coming from a place of objective morality. And that's really important. When you have a grounding in the absolute in your life within the relative plane that we live in, decision making is very easy. It's very easy to make sound judgment calls, solid decisions when you know what your values are, when you have a crisp, clear picture on how you can apply principles to the circumstances you find yourself in as a leader. The Venture Map framework is my life's work. You're going to get that for free. You can walk with all of that at the end of the month. If you churn out as a community, you can ask for a refund if you think that the value you receive is greater than the investment you made. That's always my promise. From there, we go from the $100 a month to the $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month to $2,000 a month, or $3,000. And then we just roll on that for a few months, a few quarters, and grow from there. Thanks for watching. Always a pleasure. And I look forward to seeing you in the next Logan L.